There's three things that I would say we're gonna cover today. We're first gonna get a little academic. Um, Not crazy math, but some math. So be prepared. I'll walk you guys through it in a tight way. The purpose of this part is to truly juxtapose the conventional way of looking at goals versus a way that we've seen unlocks the spirits of our clients. It allows them to be ambitious, to be aggressive, and to know that all of that is justified in the pursuit of profit and growth. So we're going to talk about this potential of looking at that way, which is really a lens that has to include a value of repeat sales. After we do that, we're going to get into some execution mode. Well, if you want to drive up repeat sales, how can you drive up those repeat sales? And the math is going to start concluding like this. If your customers bought more, and you know how much they're going to be worth eventually, then you can pay more to acquire them. And when you pay more to acquire them, you start to edge out your competitors and become much stronger. And your net new customer growth starts there. So if you have been able to increase your customer lifetime value as step one that we'll talk about, and this step two is how do you parlay that much higher customer lifetime value into more customers as well. So organized flow here. Looking forward to going through it in a methodical way with you guys. We've been around since 97. Vast majority of our clients are e-com. They come in all sizes. So whatever size business you are, we have a lot of clients like you. We understand your challenges and we have a slightly different approach. So let's get into this. Let me see if I've missed any chats here. Guys, I'm keeping the chat open. If you want to ask any questions, go to that chat box anytime. I'm going to try to answer them. So first, let's start talking about the potential of repeat sales. I've heard many times, it's so much easier to keep a customer than it is to acquire a customer. And people try to create like this conventional wisdom number that is this Canadian Professional Sales Association for you from Toronto. Probability of selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%. So existing customer, 67% chance you can sell to them again. But the probability of selling to a new customer is between 5 and 20%. Interesting numbers. It's a ridiculous range, by the way. That's like a huge range. It is upwards of like 14 times different, as little as 3 times. Like 20 to 6 is 3 times difference, 5 to 70 is 14 times difference. So is that true? Are repeat sales 3 to 14 times easier? And the answer is yeah, or more. So we took 3 clients here, just looked at a random month of data. We've organized our data in a way where I can say all the investment going towards loyalty and advocacy, that's for past customers. Everything for awareness, consideration, conversion is new customers. Take those totals, divide by net new customers, or look at overall conversion rates, and we get this kind of number. So for a baby accessory company, their new customer conversion rate, almost 4%, over 9% for repeat customers. And because it's baby accessories, there's also something to understand here. Your baby's not a baby forever, so you can sell to this baby parent for 6 months. So great customer lifetime value, great conversion rates, but you got to hit it while it's hot. For a phone accessories company, their repeat customer conversion rate is 41% versus new customers is 3%. How is that possible? Well, these phone accessories are phenomenal quality. That's why they're doing their job. Require customers, and they delight their customers so much that the customers are ready to buy at a very high clip. Buy for themselves again, for other family members with other phones, for gifts. A t-shirt printing company. They're looking for people who can buy a lot from them, churches, schools, etc. Really hard to find those buyers. Less than 1% of the people that we try to engage with the website actually convert. But when they do, they are 25 times more likely to buy again. 20% conversion rate. It's phenomenal. So that's why you separate your strategy. I'm going to find the next one because they're going to buy 20% conversion rate. It's phenomenal. What is the recommended times per week or month? Should an email be sent to a past purchase customer? Thanks, Derek. That's a great question. We'll talk about that a little bit. And it's maybe we could expand on that. I'll definitely get to that in the section where we talk about increasing customer lifetime value. I do want to note this. See this phone accessories company where conversion rate for past customers is 12.5 times higher. Put that in math again, lots of math here. If this company wants to hit a number that they wrote on a whiteboard, this is our revenue for Q4, we want to hit it. It would take 10,000 visits from past customers to drive as much revenue as 125,000 new visitors. So even if they put a little bit of extra effort into it, if they had like a 20-80 split, past customers to new, they would just crush their goals. But think about how you can achieve your goals as the year is ending, how you can catch up if you had a sluggish Q1 through Q3 by relying on these extraordinary conversion rates from past customers. Now, let's get into how we can start to organize this a little bit. So I want to introduce our framework because to get to a point where you can say, I'm looking at my Google, my email, my Meta, my SMS, my Amazon, and I can tell you how much I'm spending on net new customers. Can you? Is it really that easy? We found that it takes a lot of prep work. It takes a lot of perspective. And luckily, we ended up finding that perspective a couple of years ago. We had this inflection point where we said, we used to have 6 core channels that we were marketed to. I was lucky enough to start these departments. Love those core channels. Over the next 10 years, we added 9 other core channels. Places we needed to be for our clients to get in front of their customers. But that's really tricky now because not only are there 15 channels, a lot of other things are throwing off the market. One, Google Ads used to be search, but now it's search and awareness and conversion and loyalty. So it's everything now. Are all these channels everything? Kind of. Stagnant channels like YouTube and Meta that couldn't carry their weight. Google and Meta figured out a way to turn those into profit centers by changing formats and call to actions and targeting capabilities. Channels like TikTok didn't exist 10 years ago. In 2016, TikTok came around, and that was huge. Marketplaces took a turn. The pandemic came around, brick and mortar stores were closed. So people went to Amazon. Amazon said, we can only serve so many categories. Sorry. And so people learned to go buy on websites. And that's when all these Shopify and BigCommerce sites started to take off because people had to learn how to buy online outside of Amazon. And now it became a fluid part. Then with all the privacy policy stuff, it just modeled everything. So we said, this is too complicated. We have to simplify things. Let's take advantage of the fact that Google can do awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and so can Meta. And so can Amazon. And let's start having strategies for the 5 different desired outcomes of marketing. In fact, our marketing team will be responsible for less than just show up in search or target with awareness. We will start defining 5 strategies per client on awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy. And they will be cross-channel. So we then started to explore this a lot. We'll get into some details of like, if you organize your marketing where all your campaigns for awareness are tagged awareness, no matter what channel they're in, versus consideration, conversion, it gives you power. The greatest power comes in the fact that you can start to wean off of metrics that are not that healthy for your business, like return on ad spend. Not the healthiest metric for your business rankings. Click-through rate, open rates. What's the health of my business? Look at my open rate. That doesn't tell you anything. What metrics tell you that you're healthy? Marketing efficiency ratio, customer lifetime value, cost per acquisition, and the ratio between the two, net new customers. And we started to introduce this more and more to our clients 2 years ago, to start having the conversations that are consequential between marketing and the financial health of their business. And we started to clarify that a metric like return on ad spend or even marketing efficiency ratio, which is your total marketing costs, including power fees, ad spend, owned media, email, versus your revenue. Is it a profitable mix? Even if you have a marketing efficiency ratio of 8% or 3%, it's still a short-term metric that is cash in, cash out this month. It is not thinking about the future of the business. You want to think future of the business, long-term, you start saying, what is the value of all my customers, each customer, and can I increase that? How can I use that increased value to acquire customers at a more aggressive cost per acquisition? And if I was the aggressor, how many net new customers could I start bringing in the door right now? And I'm going to see if these polls are working. There was a glitch in the polls. No, I don't think they're going to work, but that's okay. We're oh wait. Yes, we got it working. Beautiful. What would you choose as your 90-day focus? I'll walk you guys through this. If you say keeping things short term, that means you're struggling a little bit with finances. All you need right now is a real win when it comes to efficiency. If you could tighten efficiency, forget the long term for now. You just need your cash in, cash out to be in a much better situation. If you're long term focused, you're saying, no, actually, if I really thought about my money in and out and didn't think about return on ad spend, but like actual total investment in marketing versus revenue, I'm pretty happy with it. I'd love to see us grow again 30, 40, 50, 100% per year. That's focus on long term. If you can't really choose between the two, you need a nominal improvement in both, then well balanced. I'm going to close this out in 3, 2, 1. So, look, we see everywhere that everyone is concerned about the economy. You know your finances. No one said keep things short term. No one said I'm crunching to the point of failure. I owe a lot of people a lot of money. I'm going to lay off people. 100% of you said I need growth. Whether it comes with a little bit of efficiency or not, I need growth. This is where your mindset is for you and your peers. Yet you don't have the tools to do this. At large, e-commerce businesses do not have the tools or the guidance to do this the right way. In fact, we've been around for almost 30 years, and we just started figuring this stuff out about 5 years ago. And when we got into this paradigm, this model, it was like, oh my God, we've been holding back our clients from insane levels of growth. So let's talk this through. Imagine you set your goals for your business and you said, all I look at is whether I make money on every sale. So the average order value is $50, your margin is 40, break even is $20, 50 times 40%. So you set your target per cost per acquisition, maybe $10, $15. to make between $5 and $10 worth of profit. That's the type of math that is sensible if you're not looking at the value per customer, just a sale. If you prefer using return on ad spend math, you look at the same thing. You say average order value $50, margin 40%, break even is a 240% return on ad spend. That's 50 divided by 20. So maybe if I target 300% or 400% ROAS, that'll give me some profit buffer. I'll be happy. So the cost per acquisition is 10 to 15 bucks. So why is this not the best way to manage? Well, there are so many reasons. We just threw out one. One reason alone. A tool like Google Ads that is giving you a return on ad spend takes 100% of credit for the value of the sale. In other words, you bring someone into Google Shopping, you get the click, they sign up to your email, they start responding to your email, they start seeing you on Facebook, they now remember your name, they search for you again in Google looking for a coupon, and they buy from you. Google takes 100% of credit for all that in their return on ad spend calculation, while email and Meta got nothing. Or they take their own credit. It's not a great way of doing calculations. What does it even mean? The data's not right. The revenue number is not partial. It's complete. Your cost is complete. But the bigger problem is that you didn't allow yourself to be as aggressive and profitable as possible, to break from the norms of your industry, to become the alpha. In finance, in the finance world, you look at a sector, you say sector growth is X, but there is one company in this sector that is outgrowing everyone, that is the alpha. The alpha is looking at math in a different way, saying, we can afford to be the aggressor. And until anyone else figures it out, we're going to conquer the market. So when we were looking at this data, average order value, 50 bucks, margin 40, we set a target cost per acquisition of $10 to $15. Now, what if this math also existed, where even though the average order value was $50, by month 6, a customer spends up to $250. Now, 250 times 40%, your break even is $100, not $10, $100. And even if you kept your target at 50 to 75, you are between 3 and 5 times more aggressive in acquiring customers. But what that means from creating a media mix and a distribution is, in this option A, you'd say, okay, we're not going to do any awareness. No one who hasn't said that they want to buy yet. Sorry. If you don't want to buy yet, we're not showing our ads to you. We've got to make this work in $10. In fact, we can't even show up for keywords that are like okay performance, only the best performing keywords, and then a lot of showing up for our brand, because we know we make a high return on ad spend when you search for our brand. And people who think like this typically don't even think about targeting past customers. So in a normal mix, they also are like, email will take care of repeat customers. I'm not going to pay for a repeat customer to buy from me again through ads. But when you've come out of a finance meeting and your new math says you can target a cost per acquisition of $75, and until now it was 15 bucks at most, you're like, wait a second, I can do things differently. I can show up for a lot more keywords. I can target people who I think are in my segment. I don't need to just rely on my branded keywords on conversion. I'm going to go back to my past customers and get them to buy as many times as possible, because I just won so much money from finance because I proved that customer lifetime value is worth it. So I'm going to keep propping that up as much as possible. We developed a lot of reports to help us figure this out. And anyone can figure out these reports. But what you want in a report is to be able to identify what the customer lifetime value patterns really are for your customer. And ideally, you just say, what is my eventual customer lifetime value? And how long does it take to get to about 80% of that? Is it quick? Or does it just almost never happen? It could just never achieve 80% because it's that infinite. So businesses where when you look at customers from a single month, this is our customer lifetime value report that populates in real time. The customer lifetime value has hit 80% by month 0. You virtually have no repeat. Use this information to set your goals. On the other extreme, if you see that customers keep buying and buying and buying and buying, then it's high repeat potential. That baby accessories one was number 2. About 80% of customer lifetime value was achieved within 6 months. That happens, especially when you're targeting big projects in B2B or a one-time purchase that might have some accessories, or you're targeting people whose needs will age out eventually. And the reason we established this is so that, give me 1 second. I can hear a weed whacker outside and it's going to make a lot of noise. And before I continue, you guys following? Feeling like this makes sense? So when you know your repeat cycle, this becomes a factor of your business that influences all your math from now on. All of your ideas should go through this filter. If you want to keep, if you want to keep things short term, which 0% of you said yes, or 71% said well balanced, and 29% said focus on long term. When you choose where you are in that paradigm, and you've studied how quickly or not quickly you achieve some full value of customer lifetime value, you then can set your goals based on the break-even cost per acquisition by a certain month multiplied by a particular factor. In other words, you want to keep things well balanced, but you have a short repeat window, you give up 10 to 20% of break-even towards cost of acquisition. It is very profitable and at the same time, a little aggressive. You go more and more into that number as you have more repeat potential and you're more long-term focused. This is called the growth target matrix. This is how we set goals using this data. And it's become super helpful as a cursory tool to set goals, holistic goals. So recap as we go into these sections of execution. If you want a long-term growth plan, you first need to start measuring and setting higher customer lifetime value goals. You want to use those increases to set an acceptable cost per acquisition. And then using that cost per acquisition, if you have a cost per acquisition and a lot of ad spend, you can acquire tons and tons of new customers. Let's just take a look at an example of that. For the baby accessory store, the one we were talking about earlier, we looked at the customer lifetime value report with this client, and we said, we want to increase net new customers. We know how much our customer's worth. We know what the acceptable cost per acquisition in. We're going to set those targets. We're going to put enough money behind it. We're going to go after it. And within 1 month, we had doubled how many net new customers they were bringing in per month. And the interesting thing was, by taking the time to set cost per acquisition goals, we became a little conservative in how we approached it and pretty tight with our targeting. We came in at 8% lower cost per acquisition than what we had before. Marketing efficiency ratio, which is the percentage of revenue that goes to marketing, which you always want to keep as low as possible. Marketing efficiency ratio also dropped. So now they're getting bountiful repeat sales from twice as many customers because someone sat down and did some math. Okay. How to drive up repeat sales. So with repeat sales, it is all about zeroing in on advocacy and loyalty. Loyalty is asking past customers for anything except for a like or a share or a review or a referral. Because if you've asked for those things, we call those advocacy campaigns. And advocacy campaigns are interesting because they may not make money at face value, but they influence awareness, consideration, conversion rates. They kind of start a virtuous cycle of how your different marketing desired outcomes impact each other. So that's kind of the linchpin that creates everything in your flywheel. But if you're not asking for a like, share, or review, and you're targeting a past customer, that's loyalty. You're hoping that some engagement, some sale, some prompt will lead to more purchases. Derek, do you mind? He said, what is the recommended times per week or month should an email be sent to a past purchase customer? And same thing for text message. I'm going to show you how we are going to help you answer that, because I'm going to look at your business and 2 or 3 of your competitors with you in about 20 minutes. So in the meanwhile, if you don't mind giving me the name of your website and maybe 2 or 3 competitors, we're going to get to that. I'll show you how you can see what your competitors are doing, and that should give you an idea. You also take into account what your repeat rate is, if there's a nice high repeat value. If you have a short window, you might need to race. You might want to rely more on workflows than campaigns. Your size of email list is also a factor. So we can get to that. But of course, with email, you are able to create some really good logic for taking people who have engaged in different ways and getting them to take action. And when you're creating these flows, we want to try to take into account as much data as possible and create elaborate decision trees. And since there's been so much cookie deprecation, pixel deprecation, this zero-party data is really important. So when you're setting up your flows, for example, what you're looking for is to use the zero-party data that you're gathering on these particular customers. What is the source that they bought from the first time? What incentives have they responded to or been offered already, so you don't double up on your coupons? What expectations have you set for the customer in terms of their satisfaction or having to buy extra filters, things like that? What have they purchased in the past? And what does that tell us about the odds of them buying something else? And are we doubling up on the SMS side? For Performance Max, Google Ads Performance Max. Google Ads Performance Max is using AI to help figure out what individuals would want to see in shopping, in maps, in search, in display, on YouTube. And the more data you provide in terms of segmentation into Google's platform, specifically for PMAX, you can have different oriented PMAX campaigns for VIP users who buy all the time, for cart abandoners, for past purchasers. And then you can add new customer targeting layers on top of your list. Folks, I'm going to just check whether we're still good. We just had a quick little brownout here. Let me quickly go to the chat. Let me know if you guys can still see me and hear me. My computer was still running, which should be good. Good, awesome. So with Performance Max, if you don't have great segmentation for your list, you can start to segment based on custom intent data. The interesting thing about custom intent data is you can look at the way Google creates cohorts, and you can find cohorts that they've established that might have 8.8, 7.5 times more likelihood of buying from you based on past conversion rates associated with past visitors in that cohort. You get to do the same thing with display and Google's demand gen tools. So you can organize these ads to non-purchasers, past purchasers. You can organize by audience segments if you wish. But once again, Google is using AI to try to map based on as much data as you provide them and everything they know about that person to take any of the assets you provided and serve them at the right time. All these things start to activate more repeat purchases. In search, we are allowed to target search ads, not always just with your brand name, but with categorical. If you don't want your past customers to stray from you, especially when they're buying in a category that they've never bought from you before, and they don't have an expectation that this brand that they love can serve them this category. Which is why you want to keep showing up. People have been pulling back from search a lot in e-commerce. And because it's an auction, that is reducing the cost per click. So you can go in there now for your past customers and never give up the space. Criteo also allows you to upload past customer lists. If you have Klaviyo, for example, all of your lists go directly into Criteo as the same, like a facsimile of your lists from Klaviyo. If you're not on Klaviyo, you can use Zapier to connect any one of your DSPs, your email service provider, to Criteo. Once you have your lists organized, you can do showcase ads, you can create dynamic ads, you can run native ads. Native ads are like when a past customer is reading an article. So let's say you're a fashion store, and one of your past customers is reading an article of the top 5 trends for jeans this spring. You can show your ad in that article as if it was part of the article. That's what a native ad is. A native ad skins itself into an article. And if you're trying to get your past customers that are 25 times more likely to buy from you to just find you accidentally in an article, you're gonna get a pretty good sale. There's smart ways of using all the paid ads out there to do what your email is probably doing on its own. Meta ads. You can do win backs for past customers who haven't bought in a long time. You can do cross sells. You can keep your VIP customers engaged and hope that they start sharing your content. And you can even start to target product specific ads directly down to buyers who might want to buy that same product again. Or a set of suggestions based on past purchase behavior. All this can be done through pushing meta. But if you're taking your past customer list and you're mudding it up with your new customer acquisition, and you don't actually have organization of new versus return, or ideally awareness, consideration, conversion versus loyalty and advocacy, you're not really activating meta towards past customers. It's all incidental then. Pinterest allows you to target your past customers as well. You have to use a tool like Zapier, but any one of your past customer lists can be plugged into Pinterest. And when those users are searching, Pinterest is 75% female, 40% household income over 100,000. You want to show up when they're searching. And of course, TikTok. Again, when you have a tool like Klaviyo kind of plugs into TikTok, but you don't need that. Any ESP plus Zapier or a tool like Zapier will connect your past customer list, which is an organizational challenge on its own. Categories of interest, VIPs, loyalty, responds to discounts, doesn't respond to discounts, how long has it been since they bought? All those points of organization matter. And then you get to use your TikTok ads to do dynamic content, to do shopping. With one of our clients, we did over $100,000 worth of live shopping on TikTok. And to get people there, which was a 9-hour shopping session live, for people only buying through TikTok shop. By the way, we broke all records for TikTok. We had already broken records at 40,000 in a single day. This is 105,000. But we had to send multiple emails, 2 emails in one day. And we sent about 5 SMS blasts as well. So we wanted to get our past customers into TikTok to engage with the live shopping. And all that activity told the TikTok algorithm, bring everyone here today. Something's happening. We were making it happen. We focused so much energy at one nexus point. So driving CLV, Derek, to your question, it's not just about email and SMS, and it shouldn't be. The days where Google was search and email was, retain, attract, convert, retain, they're over. Email plays a pivotal role in organization, in keeping up with things, in workflows, in finding a balance between SMS and email. But it plays a huge role in the organization of what you pipe into the other paid channels. And those channels are waiting for that data to help you increase your customer lifetime value to its highest peak at its fastest rate of CLV. So coordinate across more channels, stick to your repeat sales window like it's a religion, and make sure you send out advocacy emails. Like us, share, review the product that you liked. They may not show great returns, but they will activate so many sales, not just in loyalty, but in new customers as well. So when you have your customer lifetime value up to peak levels, now what do you do with that? Well, for starters, you take all those neatly organized lists and you tell Meta, hey Meta, here's great data on my most loyal customers. Find me more. So your top customers, your highest lifetime value customers. And if you have a product that you're trying to push, people who bought that product, create specific lookalike audiences of people who bought that product, and then promote that product. The science of lookalikes is phenomenal. When you say 10%, you're saying, here's some criteria of a list I'm looking at. Show me the 10% of that list that is closest to my customers. A 1% means they got to be almost identical to my customers. 5 to 7 is a good number to hit, by the way. And same with interest. Pinterest. With Pinterest, it's not a lookalike, it's an act-alike. So basically you say, Pinterest, here's my customer list that I want you to find me replicas of. And they'll say, okay, well, your customers search like this, click like this, buy like this, pin like this, share like this. So we just found you another 250,000 people who do the same thing. And now you can target them. But the approach required to figure out this bigger challenge of where do I find net new customers? That requires its own science. And we ask ourselves kind of a simple question. When we're going to find new customers, does the demand already exist? Or do we need to generate the demand? We created these like playbooks based on that simple question. If the demand already exists and people are searching for the keywords associated with that concept all the time, then we call that a search-based journey because, hey, people are already searching for your category. You got to show up. Get your search game on. SEO, Pinterest, Google Ads, Google Shopping, Amazon, YouTube, Walmart, Target. Those are all search engines. Show up for your keywords. Dominate. Get bigger and bolder. But if that's not happening, or there's some reason why people would only buy a product that they really trust, or it's a novelty that they would never even search for, the demand doesn't exist for your novel concept. In all those scenarios, it's a brand-based journey. You don't just focus on search. Your job is to go find the likely buyer and build awareness. And there's an easy way to figure this out. We found that there's a science behind this, where if you look at two sources of data, the data will tell you in the patterns whether you and your competitors ride existing demand or whether you and your competitors are supposed to create demand. If when you look at your Google Trends over a long period of time, you and your competitors all follow the same demand curve, no one's generating demand. If it's different, you're all generating your own demand. If you look at all your keywords and they overlap organically, everyone's trying to show up for the same demand keywords. If it's split up, then they're all generating their own demand. And in a few moments, I'm going to take Clay's website and anyone else, and we're going to look at these numbers just like we would if we were looking at Nike and Reebok and Adidas and ASICS. So with these businesses, you can see they share the same demand curve and they have a lot of keyword overlap. These are search-based journeys. You look at that data and you say, great, I don't get to choose my journey type. The journey type is identified. If it's a search-based journey, I know the type of goals I want to set, what channels are important, what ad types, some of the strategies, some of my messaging. And if it was brand-based journey where I had to actually generate brand, it'd be a little bit different in terms of goals and channels and ad type. This one observation saves you 50% of your heartache. And you can narrow in on the right things. And figuring out the size of your market is important. A brand-based journey is driven by awareness. We need to figure out how big is the big blue ocean of awareness for my market. And then you try to create as much momentum as possible. This is a brand-based journey. We invest in new customers. We increase average order value because it's not a search-based journey. People can't even compare price from one website to another. If they can't compare price, we can charge more, which we did. In a search-based journey, it's more competitive, more price sensitivity, and for a business like this, there was not that big of a big blue ocean. There was 30% growth potential year over year. A different search-based journey, like Apartment 2B, had a lot of room to grow. So their paid search revenue grew by 600% more in 2 years. So you figure out what's my playbook, how big is my big blue ocean, you go for it. And the way you figure this out is by looking at your competitors. So I'm going to offer in like a minute, 2 minutes, to do this for any of you at no cost and try to figure out what are your competitors up to? How are they acquiring customers? How are they getting repeat sales? What marketing mix seems to make sense? What playbook seems to make sense? We'll use Google Ads to look at the trends. We'll look at your SEO overlap through SEMrush. We'll see the percentage of keywords you rank for, because you should rank for 20 to 25% of your keywords on page one. That's a number that matters a lot of math. Are your search ads consistently visible, or did you pull back for some reason? How much overlap in paid search text ads between you and your competitors? How are your Google shopping results looking? Did you stop showing up for a lot of keywords once you switched to PMAX? Maybe you didn't do it right. Maybe you have too many products in one campaign. Maybe you're using too many media assets. Those are reasons why your Google shopping visibility can shrink. How many ads are you running on Facebook? How many ads are your competitors running? Who's running dynamic ads? Who's running social validation ads? Who's running sales? What are the strategies? Who's getting a lot of momentum on Pinterest? Pinterest is great for both search and brand-based journeys because it is a social, but also search website. And Pinterest could be incredible. For one of our apparel clients, we diversified from Meta into Pinterest, and the return on ad spend was 100% higher than Facebook. So not bad to take some money away from Facebook and normalize and improve the overall efficiencies of their business while diversifying and getting more customers. You can see what your competitors are doing on YouTube. Are they using PMAX YouTube ads, demand gen, video reach? What's their strategy? Who's running TikTok ads? Again, I'm just looking at another client that wasn't too keen on going into TikTok, and then we did it. And cost per clicks were 75% lower than Facebook. So while there was a lot of saturation in Meta and Google ads, we found other huge channels to drive traffic and bring down the averages. For all of you who said well-balanced, that you want to see well-balanced momentum, that's how you achieve well-balanced. Derek, I like to use build.com to spy on competitors to see all the emails that they're sending out and learn what their frequency is, what their strategy is. So we'll look at some for you in a second. I'll do a quick poll here, folks. Any of you want me to do one of these competitive analyses for you, kind of in the privacy of a Zoom call? I can bring in other members of my team, we don't charge for this. But you might get the most consequential information about where you lie in your pursuit of your own growth and taking market share from your competitors. Just by doing what we've been doing for 30 years, we're the first e-commerce agency. We've always had our ear to the ground. What do we need to do to lead this market, guide our clients to grow healthier than their competition, stay one step ahead? And these tools have done that for us. So would love to have as many of you kind of raise your hand for that. I'll probably be the one who meets with you. I look forward to it. I'm going to close this out in a moment. I just want to see Derek and Matthew both suggested their website for some live review. So let's go to live review now. So Derek, we're going to start with you first. And a live review is not going to be as smooth. So I'm going to share my screen, show you guys what I'm doing. So Derek, we're going to start off with your website. Platinum level. Now you've shared a few competitors. Before we use your list, I want to just create a list and compare. You said your competitors are Office Chairs Unlimited, Office Chairs USA, Bison Office Chairs, and Office Chairs Outlet. So let's see what our lists are showing us. And folks, feel free to chat it up in the chat side. The no rules, whatever you want to say. Ask any questions. Feel free. So first, Derek, I can see that there's no ads running right now for you on paid search or Google Shopping. I'm going to just go back to an earlier period of time. So you really have not been running Google Shopping. You rank for 27 keywords right now. So finding competitors based on overlap is going to be a tough thing to do. So what we'll do instead is take your advice and look at your competitors. Okay. We've got Office Chairs Unlimited. We've got Office Chairs USA. And we've got the Bison Office. Is it bisonoffice.com or Bison Office Chairs? I'm just going to take Office Chair Outlet for now because I found Bison Office Chairs or bisonoffice.com, but not Bison Office Chairs. And they don't just focus on chairs. So we'll take Office Chairs Outlet.com just based on the naming conventions of the websites. And it's pretty clear that you're in a search-based journey. Um, so let's look at that first. Okay. So platinum level, unfortunately, because it could mean so many different things, um, is not showing up with a representative brand search. We know this because you're ranking for 27 keywords. It can't be that much greater. So we're gonna have to rely on other data here. This is the organic overlap. Now, this is just a blip right now. That's fine. I'm just gonna remove you for a second here. So you can see how much overlap there is. Anytime you have this type of equiangular shape, a perfect triangle for 3, or a perfect square for 4, like we saw with Adidas and 86 and Rebecca. I wish you Reebok. Oh, you were Reebok comes. Um, that's 1.3K keywords are shared between all 3 of them, and a lot of overlap otherwise. Like Office Chairs Unlimited and Office Chairs USA, they share 3,500 keywords in common. On the Google Ad side, not shopping, Office Chairs USA is the only one that's showing ads. And then for product ads, your competitors are not really where they should be. Office Chairs Unlimited should be as dominant as Office Chairs USA with a great overlap. So we're getting the most information from here, which basically is telling us your marketing strategy has to start off with probably not SEO yet, because if you only rank for 27 some odd keywords, it's not enough to grow with, unless historically you ranked for more. So we'll just look at that real quick. So at best you ranked for 276 keywords, one of those on page 1, and it has really shrunk in the last few months. So I would say to get things going, you want to focus on net new customers with Performance Max and Google Shopping, targeting some of the most qualified keywords that your competitors currently rank for. And now to the question of email, you definitely need to build your email list first, maybe to at least 5,000-10,000 customers before it matters. And then you can learn from your competitors a little here. Matthew, we're going to get to you next. And if anyone else wants to throw in an email or a website, I promise you this is a safe space. We are all starting at different levels. Office Chairs USA has the most well-defined approach. So what they have learned over their time, and they've been running emails since at least 2018, is they're sending almost exactly 3 or 4 times a month. Yeah, this is nothing crazy. They do seem to send twice for almost every email for people who did not engage the first time. In a business like this, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have 2 cohorts, a cohort that buys very infrequently, but a cohort that buys a lot. And a cohort that buys a lot will have its own dynamics and its own reason to buy from you. And that cohort that buys a lot, at least Office Chairs USA, seems to believe that an account manager giving you someone to talk to is really important. So they're going and taking a social modality approach to this. Yes, you can talk about some new products, but really we just want to get in touch with you. Okay. 180 smoke.ca. Derek, was that at all helpful? I know it's not all the answers you were looking for, but give you an idea of how to start this conversation. We'd like to look at Meta and Pinterest and YouTube ads as well. All those would be really helpful. Okay. Matthew, let's see here. I know you can't run it. Your Google Shopping ads. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Derek. I'm really glad to hear that. It's hard to navigate so many different options. And strategy is all about saying no, right? Michael Porter, professor at MIT, that says his thing, strategy starts with learning how to say no to certain things. If you can exclude channels that will not be meaningful right now to get momentum, and you can steal from your competitors the keywords that they pay for and they have worked so hard to rank for, you're already way ahead. It's going to be easier for you to get ahead than it was for them to get where they are. Yep. Canada, let's change that. Thanks, man. I remember Toronto. The moment you said that, I've been hungry. If you've never been to Gerrard Street in Toronto, if you've never been to Moti Mahal, you've missed out in life. It is the best Indian food I can remember. It is what we call a dhaba. So it's like a hole in the wall, and it's good food. Um, awesome. And of course, I'm sure you know Pink Pearl for maybe the best Chinese food I've had in the East Coast area. Yeah, great. All right. Where's some time to go? So vape fine, lots of overlap in terms of commonality of keywords. Bay vape, Liberty vape. So let's look at these three. It's kind of our comparative set. First thing we'll do is just orient ourselves with our opening move. I like playing chess, and every time I think about choosing search versus brand-based journey, it's like learning the King's Indian opener, where you 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 practice an open, a single open, and you realize there's only like 20 different ways a person can respond to your opponent. And if you can learn those 20 ways they respond to you, then you become good at the next step and the next step. But if you didn't have an opening move that you got good at, and you just chose any move to make, you would always be working with an infinite number of responses. You want to limit what you need to be good at. So just limiting to search versus brand already becomes your strategic move. That's why when people say they're playing chess, they're doing strategy. It's strategy because it's becoming predictable. It's increasing the odds of victory. And getting good at an opener is your first step. So often I ask people, you're talking about, keep using the phrase strategy when you talk about what you're talking about, but I'm not hearing strategy there. Strategy is a very finite concept. It leads everything. Here's Canada. Okay. Um, these don't look like they have a lot of overlap yet. Let's take a even when there's like blips and dips, they don't align week on the week. Um, there's a little bit of more alignment between Liberty Vape and your site than there is than Bay Vape. Let me just take out Bay Vape for a second here. Hmm, no, it almost looks like whenever there are people searching for 180 smoke, it's because you guys generated demand in that moment. That's what the data looks like. Um, so let's just take a second look. Is that the right way of looking at things, or should you be generating, or should you be kind of like riding demand as opposed to generating demand? Where is your big blue ocean? Even though there's a lot of overlap here, out of all these keywords, there's only 107. And no one's advertising on PLA or paid. Ah, Matthew, I can't remember. Are you allowed to advertise on Meta in Canada for your product? No. Most of you are still here. So let's hang together for a second. Let's see what is available. Um, it's definitely a tricky one. SEO is good for you, by the way. It's gotta be. And SEO does not just show up for categorical phrases. SEO in a brand-based journey, you can use SEO to create awareness. And there's a lot of different ways of doing that. You can do digital PR, where people from your lifestyle, your target lifestyle, are engaging with that with articles or contests that are adjacent to their lifestyle for promoting your brand. You can create articles and blog content that is not exactly people searching at this moment for a category, but again, is really interesting to the lifestyle. And that might be a bigger blue ocean than just trying to rank for categorical phrases. No one is running YouTube ads either. It's tricky. There's probably a very high repeat purchase rate though. Let's check out the email. And then I think beyond that, you might want to check Pinterest. Because Pinterest, you can have a pretty good organic approach. So you're relying on organic for starters. Matthew, do you have a competitor that you think is bigger, that you think is kind of like the leader in your space right now? Dash vapes. Anyway, let's look at this. Canvape's not that far ahead in terms of overall keywords. Mm, and 23 followers, nothing, nothing. Let's try Canvape here. Basically, you're in like the trickiest of all e-commerce. Really, really tricky. I wouldn't mind expanding this with you a little bit. Have you tried Reddit? Are you allowed to do Reddit ads? No. Okay. I'm gonna see if someone can reach out to you from my team. Um, to start looking at what we could do organically. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, let's do that. Anyone else? I know I launched that survey early on, but anyone else have any uh, desire for us to do a quick analysis or even analysis kind of in the privacy of a Zoom? Otherwise, I think we'll call it a. See, there's any other questions here? No. All right, folks. Thanks for spending some time with us today. I know we went over by almost 20 minutes. You all stayed. Thank you. Appreciate it. Looking forward to a few meetings as well. In terms of next steps, just let us know if you guys have any questions. Reach out anytime, or we'll see you on the next webinar. We're here every 2 weeks. So hope you have an amazing holiday season. Break all your records, folks.